Good evening and welcome to the monthly meeting of the Austin Adobe User Group. Tonight, we're going to be having a presentation given by Cornelius Chopin, who has been the co-manager of this group for many, many years. He works for the state of Texas, doing accessibility, making websites accessible. And tonight he is going to be showing us the new features recently introduced into Adobe Photoshop. This recording will be on our website, the AustinadobeUserGroup.com, in a day or two. And we welcome members to attend on the second Thursday of each month at 6 p.m. Central. Our meetings are free on Zoom. And we'd love to hear from you if you want to write to info@AustinadobeUserGroup.com. Cornelius, welcome and thank you for presenting tonight.
Okay, welcome to the group tonight. I'm going to be covering some new feature that's become available in Photoshop 2024. So if you hadn't done, now this is only for the beta version. Notice up here in I don't know if you can see this, it may be outside of the sharing screen, but this is Adobe Photoshop.
It's very small.
Beta. Yeah, it's very small, but it's basically says Adobe Photoshop Beta. You download that by going to the Creative Cloud and selecting the beta apps, and then select Photoshop Beta to get a copy of it. So what I'm be doing tonight is only available if you have the latest and greatest. Do
you need to have a license to download this beta?
I believe you do, because you have to get it through Creative Cloud.
You have to log into your membership.
Right. But anybody can download it. It's not like it's just for, beta testers. Anybody can download this beta version.
Everybody's a beta tester.
Yeah, and that's probably a good thing I may add. Okay, so let's talk about some things that are new. But before I do that, if you go up to the help, you actually have an option here that says what's new. So let's look at that, because we're going to be covering most of these items tonight. So it's using the new Firefly, and you might not be able to read this, so I'm going to read it to you.
Yeah.
This says Adobe Firefly Image 3 model. So this is the third iteration of Firefly. Every iteration gets better. The images, the quality of the image, what you can do with the image gets better with every iteration of Firefly.
It came out about a year ago for the first time.
I don't know how long it's been around, probably several years, because I've been using it. Yeah, it's been at least 2-3 years at Firefly. It was a standalone app at one time. Then they integrated it into Photoshop. I think Illustrator has Firefly in it. I think even in Premiere now has Firefly in it, After Effects. So yeah, they're just integrating it into everything, and it's some creative, some really interesting stuff that you can do. Now, so let's talk about what some other things we're going to be looking at. Generative images, okay? And better ways of creating images, easier, more intuitive, and user-friendly, particularly for beginners. Another thing that is nice is what we call reference images. So let's say you had, and we'll show an example of someone with a backpack on, and you wanted to replace that backpack with another backpack, but you wanted to look like maybe your company backpack, right? Well, you could put a reference image in and replace that old backpack with your company backpack.
Oh boy.
We'll show you an example of that. Another new feature is the adjustment brush. So back in the old days, we used to have the adjustment layers. If you're familiar with Photoshop, you can add different adjustment. You can adjust the color, the hue, saturation, various elements, adjustment elements to a layer, to an image. But now you can literally just paint those brushes, adjustment on it. So you can change the color without changing the texture of an image. And we'll show an example of that. And then you can generate similar in the previous version of Photoshop, you had to kind of add the prompt again and ask for some additional rendering of what you want. Well, right now there's a little option you can icon that you can select to generate similar images. So they've improved that somewhat. And then you could create backgrounds. So you could take an image, you can remove the background, and you can add a background. Okay, so how cool is that? And then there's enhanced detail, which I hadn't really gotten into. This is for people that are really, in the photography and they really want the pixel perfect images. You can do that with these enhanced image details. And then there's more fonts available for you to use. That's free, I may add.
More fonts, you said.
Fonts, yes. Let me show you that real quick.
How exciting.
That's not in this list right here. So let me close this out and show you.
And that's this discover window that you just closed is what you get when you go to what's new.
Yeah, when it did help what's new, it tells you what's new in the current version of Photoshop. So if you was using the text tool, let me just type in, use the text tool, and I'm gonna type in, as usual, AAUG. Obviously, I want to bump that up, so I'm gonna select what I want to affect, and I'm gonna bump it up to something way big, like 150, maybe even bigger. Oh, by the way, you can also do like, the double arrow thing, which I always
Because the
like.
drop down only goes to about 100.
Yeah,
You want
right. But if you use a little
200,
scrubber
you
right
type
here,
it in.
you see a little scrub. It's maybe hard to see. It's a double arrow
Yeah.
with a hand with a double arrow on it, and you can literally scrub that to increase or decrease the size of the font. And anytime you want to move something, you always use the move tool, right? Whatever object it is, use the move tool to move that object. Okay. Now I did that because I need this in order to show you the new font selection. So if I double click on this to get to the font context sensitive, say that 10 times. So here's what your fonts, it says your fonts, right?
Yes.
So now what's nice about this, I like, is that they classify it or filter it in different categories, which is nice, right? You got serif font, you know what that is, if you've been around the block, right?
With the little tails on the characters.
Right. And then you got sans serif, that's the one without the tails, right? Or you got script font, which you shouldn't be using too much because of accessibility.
What is slab serif? I've never seen that before.
I think that's just heavier, thicker serif font.
Can you click on it
Yeah, I
so
can
we
click
can
on
see
it.
examples?
And it's kind of hard to see, but robotic, I use this one quite a bit, Roboto slab. So it's just a heavier, thicker font that you can use. And then not only does it give you what the font is, but it also gives you a little sample over to the side.
Yes.
It's kind of hard to see on my monitor because it's hard for me to see it. So I know it's hard for you to see it. But it gives you not only the font name, but also the font sample, if you will. So you have monospace, as the name implies, mono meaning one space, right? So every character takes up the same amount of space. You got handwriting, black. I don't know what black letter is. I'm quite sure.
Let's try it.
That. I've never heard of that one. And
Click it
decorative.
and see what it does.
Okay, so decorative. And I use neon a lot. I've done a tutorial on creating neon light. You know, you go to a storefront, you see open, a closed neon. Well, that's what that font is great for, creating things like that. And there's some other ones. Now, that says your fonts, but there's another option right here. It says more fonts. You click on that, let the magic begin. And now you have a boatload of all the different types of font. And all you got to do is hover over this and it changes on the fly on your
So that's because you have the text selected in the on the image.
Exactly.
And then as you hover over each one, you can see the words that you've written change fonts.
And the golden rule, only what's selected gets affected by what you do next. So you can hover through this and kind of see what font's good for what are you doing. But all of these fonts are available for you for free. And then all languages. Oh man, that's a lot of languages there. Anyway, the bottom line is there's a boatload, that's a technical term, of fonts available for you to play around with. So I'm not a big font fan. I have about 3 fonts that I use for everything. But for someone who's real creative and do an advertisement and all of that, this may be a great thing for you.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, that's new. Hadn't seen that before. So take advantage of that if you need to. So that, oh, that's interesting. I will keep that. That's kind of,
It's kind of punk
yeah, that's a real
dressed.
interesting font. And what font is that anyway?
Well,
That
it
is
tells you up at the top.
Market Felt. Okay, Market F-E-L-T. Marker, M-A-R-K-E,
Yeah.
Felt, F-E-L-T.
Yeah, it's like a old felt marker if you were
Yeah.
using the
So
ones
that's
that smell
interesting. That's good
bad.
for like a mystery movie or something like that. I can see that can come in handy. Okay, so let's get back into the heart and soul of what we're going to be talking about tonight, and that is the generative images and all what you can do with it. Now, what's new is that when you create a new document, let me do this. I'm going to do File New, and I'm going to just create a new document, click Create, and it's going to create a new document. Let me zoom in on this a little bit. Okay. But in the old days, you had to make a selection, right? You had to use your selection tool and draw a selection, right? You don't have to do that anymore. Control D to deselect. It has what we call a implied selection. Remember, meaning if I do Control A, Command or Control A, you notice the marching ants is all the way around the canvas, right?
It's
That is,
selected all.
right, but you don't need to do that if you're trying to affect the whole canvas. You have an implied selection. So you don't need to do it. But if you want to get that, I often say if you want to give a warm and fuzzy feeling that you have a selection, do Control A and you get all the pixels of that layer selected. So I'm gonna do Control D to deselect that to let you know that you don't have to have a selection. In the old days, you had to have the whole canvas selected so the whole canvas can be what affected, right? So
Deselect.
now all you have to do is say import image. And by the way, I don't know if you guys are familiar with this. This is a cute little dialog box here. You need to take advantage of it, particularly for beginners, because whatever you're doing, it has all of the options there available for you. Okay. So if
What
you
did
want
you
to
call
brush,
it? What kind of box?
this right here, this little box right here, this what
Uh,
it's called. If you lose it, it's under the Windows menu under Contextual Task Bar. Okay.
okay.
So, but and it changes based upon what you're doing, and it
It's
has
a
all the
taskbar.
necessary tools that you need. If you're on a brush, you're going to brush tools. If you're on font, it's going to font tools. You follow me? So it's contextual taskbar besides the generative fill. So it's going to keep you on track, as it were. Now, there's a couple options in here. So let me just turn this off first to show you that if you lose it, you can get it back. If you hide the bar and then say, well, I want that back because that thing is very, 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 did I say very? Very
Yeah,
useful. Okay. I
very.
just that for emphasis. Okay. So if you want to get it back, you do that. You go to Windows and do contextual taskbar.
Yeah,
Bam.
I don't see a shortcut for it.
Yeah, there's no shortcut for it. So you have to go to the menu. There's
Yeah,
no
look at that. They've got so many more commands than shortcuts.
Yeah, so they do not have a shortcut for that, but it shows up, and unless you intentionally hide it, it's going to always be there, right? Now, the problem, though, is if you don't pin it down, it kind of bounces all over the place if you moving around. So you could pin this thing down. Let's say I want it to stay, and by the way, to move it, you need to, and I wish they would make this a little bit bigger and more intuitive, because it's not intuitive that if I try to grab this thing, it's not going to move, you see. Now, because I'm on the character, right? I mean on the text
Yeah.
rather, I'm gonna have text-based options to choose from, right? The font
Mm-hmm.
size, the color, the alignment, you guys know about that. But what I wanted to say is that it's not very intuitive to be able to click on this. I wish they would make this bigger, maybe put a little
That's the handle
move
on the
tool
left.
like that, right? Over
Yeah,
here, because this allows you to move it
right.
in the way you want.
Well,
Now,
often tools have an X as the first icon on the left for moving a module around. So it's standard to have it on the left.
right. So this is not really intuitive that this is where you got to grab it to move it. But
Okay.
maybe they may change that in a newer iteration. If that would be my complaint. Not for me, because I know what, but for a beginner, they may not know how to move that bar around. They think it's just stuck in place, which
That's why they have to come to our meetings, so they'll learn
right.
this.
So if it's stuck here and I'm trying to draw, that can be really irritating to me,
Yeah.
right? Now another thing is that you can pin it to a location. So let's say I want to pin it. If you come over here, we hit it earlier, but you can also pin it. So if you pin that, it's not going to move unless you implicitly move it. Okay, because it'll bounce
But
around
when it's pinned and if you grab the handle on the left, will it still move?
over here.
Yeah.
Over here, yeah,
It's
yeah,
not,
it'll still
it's
move.
not pinned now, so pin it, please. And now see
So
if it
it's
will,
pinned,
it
right?
is
But
pinned, and now it
yeah,
won't let you move it.
yeah, it'll
Oh,
still
it
let you move it.
will, okay.
Okay, what's different about that is that it will stay there, not bounce around. If you're doing different things, it won't bounce around on you.
Hmm.
And then you can watch quick video. For some reason, my video wasn't working earlier, and I was running out of this space because I was loading some
Oh,
other.
that'll be like a little tutorial on how to use.
Right.
Cool.
And then you can reset the bar position. Let me see what that does. So that sets it, put
Back
it
to the middle.
back to the middle. And then you can also look for more properties. I don't know what that does because I hadn't used it. Okay, properties to select. So it kind of highlights things that you're doing, which is kind of cool. Okay, so I don't want to spend too much time on that. I want to show you the creative stuff, which is the fun stuff.
Oh, boy.
So what I was getting at was when you're on a new blank screen, you're gonna get the option. Notice I'm not having font-based properties. I'm having, if I got a blank screen, there's two things you're gonna want to do: import an image, right, or create an image.
Mm-hmm.
So I can literally click on import, find a file, find an image that I want to import. Let's see, I did something in my download earlier. So let's download this backpack just to show you what I'm talking about. That's the backpack I downloaded a few minutes before this meeting. And now I'm gonna hit place. Now place is meaning import. It's similar. That's the
Mm-hmm.
term they use in Illustrator. If you use Illustrator, you know there's a place, which is the same.
You're placing it on the canvas.
Right. So if you hit that, bam,
Ooh,
right? And then you can rescale that however you
nice
want.
backpack.
However you want. Somebody did delete that, okay? Because that's not what I wanted to do. So you can literally, without a selection, you can import any image on your canvas. Or what I was doing is I needed a image of a girl with a backpack to illustrate the reference images, right? So
Mm-hmm.
I just created it.
That's
Okay.
great.
So what I did was I literally went in and I just say girl with backpack. Okay, now you can select. Now there's more options, by the way. Here, there's art. Do you want it, it to be an art type image, or do you want a photo? I wanted a photo, right?
Yep.
And then you can select the reference image. Now,
Ah.
I'm gonna do that later, but I'll show you right here. You can select a reference image from here, and then there's a boatload of effects that you can add, and you can add multiple effects to an image. So, for example, well, we'll look at that later because what I want to explain is the reference image. So I want to keep it simple for right now. Let's just create a picture. Now, again, the more descriptive you are here, and I've seen people write a book in here. Okay, I'm
Yep.
not that, I'm not a book writer, but you can literally write as much as you want, and it'll create it'll create a better image for you. I'm very simple minded, if you will. A girl with a backpack, not much fuss there, right? And then you click the generate button and let the magic begin. And hopefully, yeah, there it goes. Because I was running out of hard drive space earlier. I'm thinking, man, I got to get this working before the class. And no, that's the girl with the backpack. Now, look, there's another one and another one. Now, what I forgot to do was to say girl with a backpack facing the ocean because I want to replace the backpack, right? So I want to do that again. So come over here move this thing, and then I didn't pin it. See where it moved down there? So I'm gonna do that again, but this time let me make sure this thing gets pinned it. So it's pinned, right? So I'm gonna say girl with backpack facing ocean. Okay. Now I'm gonna hit generate.
And I see the progress bar going slowly.
Right. You see it generating. Okay, now it got
Oh,
me. And
beautiful.
it gave me that picture, and that picture. Okay, so now watch this though. So now let's say I want to replace that with my beautiful backpack from my corporate backpack that I
Right,
created.
your reference photo.
Well, I actually didn't create that. I literally did the same thing. I said backpack to create this. Okay, but I had to save it in order to get to it on this image, right? So let's go to which one I just created right here. Let's take this picture and I want to replace her backpack with my backpack. Okay, so you use the lasso tool. Remember that tool was kind of old tool back in the old days. It's come to life now because you can literally use it, just to kind of scribble stuff around what you want to do. So I'm gonna select the backpack, right? And notice I get a generative fill and deselect because I got a selection, so it knows I can deselect, right? Again, it takes all of the guesswork out of what you need to do next. Contextual task bar, if you will. So now I'm gonna hit the generative fill, but watch what happens when I do this. Hold on just a sec.
Please proceed. Thanks.
Okay, so what I did was made a selection, and now watch what happens when I select generative fill again. Notice it expanded, and again, I could put a prompt in here. If I wanted to, I could put a backpack, for example, in it, and it would replace it with some backpack, another backpack, right? In fact, let's just try that. So watch, I'm gonna do backpack. And then if I hit generate, it's just gonna generate another backpack to replace the one that you see.
But if we
Which is
want
what I may want to do.
one.
Okay, but I want to replace it with my backpack, and we'll show you that in a bit. How cool is that? Now, these are different iterations. It's going to typically give you three. I don't know if I can span this out. So you're going to give you three different variations of that backpack. How cool is that?
None of them look like the backpack though that you generated.
Yeah, because I didn't do a reference image yet. I was just showing you that.
Oh, I see. Okay.
I replaced this backpack with just
different backpacks, right?
A different backpack. Now let's do the other one where I can use a reference image, right? So you can choose from the image, choose an image. I'm gonna go and grab that image. I know I called it backpack right here. That's it right there. You see it? And you have a reference image selected. Again, you may not be able to see, but there's a little blue check mark right here saying that there's a reference image. In fact, you see a picture of it right there. So I want to replace that with that reference image. So again, I need to make a selection. Again, the golden rule, only what's selected gets affected, right? So I do that, click on this again, and then I need to do that again because I was doing it in ahead of what I needed to do. So let me find backpack again, right there. Click open. And again, you can see it right here, right? That's the icon right there selected. Now, I don't need to type in here, right? Because I'm telling it what I wanted to replace it with. So let's see if that works. So click on generate and let the magic begin. So how many of you often, I often say this when I'm teaching, how many of you think you can do that with a little effort? Just a little bit of effort. You think you can do that? You can make a little selection. Now, so again, it's not the same image, but it is a reference image, right? Because my image looked like
Yeah, the pockets are side by side
Right,
and here
like
it's
this,
one over the
right? But it
other.
has that color scheme going, right?
Yeah,
So it's not gonna give you the same image. It's gonna use your image to kind of style it to look like your image.
I have a complex question, which maybe you can't answer because you aren't a lawyer. But if you're generating these images, I understand that they are copyright free and you can use them for any commercial purpose. But what if you use a reference image that is copyrighted?
Good question. It's probably going to generate something that is not looking like your copyrighted image, right? Because
Mhm.
that does not look like my reference image at all.
No,
It has the
no.
same color schemes, right? Look and feel, as it were, but not the. I mean, like you say, remember the pockets was next to each other, right?
Yep.
This is totally different, but it gave me 3
Let's
iterations.
look at yeah, I'd want to see if the other iterations are.
Okay, which is none of them matched my
Mhm.
reference image, matched the look and feel, but not the actual
Huh,
image. And I'm okay with that.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah, now if you want to put your backpack, all you got to do is just cut and paste it in, and it'd take a little bit more work. Uh, if you wanted to put your actual company backpack on the
Hmm.
back of her back, no pun intended there, you would have to do that. Now, once you do this, there's these options. This is new right here. I don't know if you can see this little icon right here. If I click on it, you can enhance the details. Now, again, it may not make a much difference on this example, but for you perfectionists out there,
Let's zoom in on the backpack and see what it's doing.
okay, let's do that. Well, I might have to wait for it to finish rendering. Okay, so you see this right here?
Yep.
Um,
Is this a vector image or a raster
no, this
image?
is a raster image. This is a raster image. And by the way, it basically what it does is it creates a layer mask,
Uh-huh.
right? If I turn these things off, it goes back to the original image. You see that? So it's just creating stacking layer mask on top of your image. So if you want to go back to your original image, you just turn off the layer that got created, right? That was
Hmm.
one, and that was the other one. Anyway, so you have this way. It's supposed to enhance the details. It says, I don't know, you can't read this. This variation have already been enhanced. So if you get on this one, you click it. I don't know if is it changed? Yeah, there we go. And then do enhance. Now it looks really bad here, and that's part of the reason is because I'm at what zoom level I'm at. I'm at 300% for crying out loud. So you expect it to be pixelated, right? So I'm gonna double click on the hand tool. That's to get what you call fit to screen. Anyway, I'm not a pixel perfect person. For what I do, tutorial type training, I'm not looking for pixel perfect stuff. But for some folks, that might come in handy. Now, if you have 3 images and you say, I don't like those, well, in the old days, 3 months ago,
Huh.
you had to retype the prompt, right, and get something else. Well, now you have this little option right here.
That's in the upper right of
Gener
those
right.
thumbnails.
And each one of them says generate similar. Okay, you click on that, and it's going to create 3 more images for you.
Wow.
And you can see they processing right here.
Yep. So you can be infinitely dissatisfied and just keep
Yeah,
doing
and
it.
then some people are, some people, one thing for me, I tell people, don't get caught up in the paralysis of analysis, right? I mean, you could
Yeah.
go crazy. I mean, I've seen people do that. It's like, her hair is off right here. I got to get that off. I'm not bothered by that. That's not bothering me. But for some people, they got to get it perfect, and I'm not into that. So these are some other ones, kind of,
That's very cool.
uh, and you keep on doing that until your heart's content, right? So that's generative, similar, or create similar images, and you can do that as many times as you want. By the way, when you do that, I don't know if you notice, it keeps a count of it, so you could go through your versions right here
Hmm.
in your list, right?
Those are like a history.
Right. So you can
Stepping back in history.
toggle through that and find out which one you want.
Great.
Okay. So
Wow.
that's what that is. Let me see what else so we talked about this is using the new Firefly 3 model engine. We covered that. Now, by the way, they also, just to let you know, there's an icon over here too. But if you didn't want to go to the Windows and select a contextual taskbar, there's an icon right here
Ah,
that gives you that
no,
bigger
that's
panel
different.
that allows you to do a little bit more stuff. Let me talk about that. Okay. So in that case, you could generate an image of different styles. You use a reference image and effects. So let me just create it. Let me cancel out of
I
this.
actually have a an application if you would entertain it.
Yeah, okay. Let me do file new.
Okay.
Right. I'm gonna create a new file. It's a blank file.
Okay.
Let's see what size do I want. Custom. Let's use default Photoshop size. Okay. And let me just zoom in just a little bit so you can see that better. Let's
Okay.
do right there. Okay, that's big enough for you, huh? Okay. So
I was asked to make a
So tell me what you
flyer.
want.
I need to make a flyer on an 8.5 by 11 piece of paper, and I'm looking for a background image that it has to do with deforestation caused
Okay.
by solar farms. So somehow we want to have a forest and a solar farm, or
Okay,
deforest it,
so
maybe
let's
like chainsaws.
let's try to see if we can type that in and get
Okay,
that for you. So I'm gonna go here, but this time I'm gonna get me a bigger. Now I don't have that little teeny weeny thing right here to contend with, right? That
right.
you saw. I got a big screen. Now we by the way, you can also go over here and give this is what they call it prompt inspirations, right? So you can
Yes.
click on this and it's gonna fill it with that prompt and you can kind of modify it to meet your specific needs. So that's inspirations right there. Because particularly when you're creating these colorful ones, you got to do Miami Beach, sunlight, skyscape,
Yep.
kind of with Venice cars and
And a
palm. I
picture's
wouldn't be
worth
thinking about all
1,000
that.
words.
Yeah. I wouldn't be thinking about all that. Because I might find something like this and just change the object in the image,
Right.
right? And
So
then
it's then
help
in
you.
the style of something.
Okay. So now tell me what do you want me to put in as a prompt?
Okay. I would put in Virginia forest. Solar farms
With solar farm,
with solar farm and deforestation.
D. I spell
Forest, FORESTATION, deforestation.
Okay, so Virginia forest with solar farm and deforestation.
Yes, let's see it. Yeah,
Deforestation.
if that's too complicated, I'll try to simplify it.
Okay. We wanted a photo or not?
Let's try photo.
Photo, okay.
Yeah.
And reference image, we won't worry about that right now. Now, effect
Okay.
is what I was telling you. There's two of them in here right now. So let's click on this to show you what's selected. Color explosion and stamp. Now you could select more here. You can select in the old days, I think you can only select one, right? But you can select a multitude, which I don't know would make too much sense. But
I'd say let's generate it with no effects initially and then apply effects and see what it
okay,
does.
let's do that. So let's
See
go
if it
back
comes up with
to
anything.
deselect that one and deselect that one. So there's no effect applied, right? Because when
Okay.
you click on this, you're going to see the number of effects gets applied,
Right.
right? So now we hit generate and
Oh, the suspense.
I know it's killing me.
Oh, look at that. That is perfect. I cannot, that is just what I need. That is amazing.
You want me to file save that and
Oh,
send it to you?
yeah, but save it, but let's reiterate, can we have more?
Okay, let's look at what else they got because you might want something else. So that's
Right.
one. What about
Yeah,
that?
that's what I want. More trees cut, more solar. That's it.
And what about this one?
Not as good. But what's interesting is it really gets, I specified Virginia forest And that does look like it's near the Blue Ridge Mountains. It's that kind of landscape.
Wow.
And I bet if I had said Oregon forest, it would have given you us different kinds of trees.
Let's do generate similar and let's see what we get.
Okay.
Again, it's generating 3 more iterations of that.
I can't believe how good that is.
I know. I get him. I'm just impressed with all of this. Okay, so that's 1.
Yeah.
That's 2. And that's 3.
Okay, let's see if we can add natural destruction or destroy nature.
To the prompt?
Yeah, as a prompt, adding it to the prompt.
Okay, so after deforestation,
yeah,
what you want to put?
It destroys nature. I don't know if this will work. It's just
okay, well, let's just see. So I got the prompt here. I'm gonna do generate, and again, it's spitting out 3 more copies.
Right.
That ought to be interesting to see what it does.
Yeah. Oh, yes. And let's see if we can get that with more panels. Yes. Unbelievable.
So you said these panels will destroy the forest.
Well, the fact that they have to cut down forests to create the panels.
Right.
And
this is like a good one here because there's a lot of dead.
Yes, that is just perfect.
Things right there. Isn't that crazy?
That is, so you can export it as a JPEG?
So I'm gonna do a file. Let's see, let's do export, export as.
Yeah, I actually like the other ones that showed the mountains in the background, but
Okay, so let's cancel that. Which one again?
if you go back, there was the one that had that one that had, no, before that. This
Okay,
one
let me use this.
real, it was one of the first ones you did. Yeah.
That one?
But what we want to do is add to that is some they damage to nature.
Okay, so
Just add damaged trees.
well, which one is that? Is that it? Yeah, that's this one. So can I do that? Generate. No, generate similar. Oh, and I did add the prompt, right?
Yeah.
Well, that's what I did earlier. So maybe I don't know. Damaging. I'm gonna say damaging trees.
Oh, you got trees, not trees.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
that thing was in my way. Trees.
Yeah. I was reading the transcript, not what you're typing. It's just,
okay. Well, good because the font size is really. I mean, it's like 3 points. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So generate, right?
Yep. Ah,
Didn't like that one.
well, that certainly shows that the forest has had some damage.
Yeah, like this.
Yeah, that's good. That's great.
And then let's look at another one.
Oh, I like that even better.
And then let's see what this one looks like. That one doesn't look like it's doing anything. Well, you got these dead trees, maybe.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if they're dead.
Yeah, they're pretty dead. Just fascinating.
Okay, you're just fascinated by this, huh?
This is like, I want curtain number 2.
Okay, so which one you want me to save and send to you?
Oh boy, I think the second one, but I gotta see
This one?
Let's see, yeah.
So I'm gonna do, let's do file. I'm gonna do an export, export as. And what kind of format you want it?
JPEG is good.
JPEG?
Yes, please.
JPEG, and let's see. We'll do an export, and I'm gonna save it to my download, and I'm gonna call this. What you want to call this?
Deforestation.
Save. So
Thank you.
I'm gonna send that to you after this meeting.
Wonderful. Thank you.
Okay, so let's see what else we can do. 'Cause I'm on one of many things that we're going to talk about. So maybe talk about this
Right.
next time. So we talk about more fonts, right? So you can add more fonts. You saw that you have your fonts and it filtered by different types, which is good because I'm always wanting to know serif, sans serif, and all of that fun stuff. And then we talk about this contextual task menu and how to pin it down. Also, how to, by the way, you can also send a response, if you will, about the picture. So you could say it was good, it was poor,
Ah,
and different things like that. And then you could delete the variation. So there's other options that you can do as well. And obviously you could do the, oh, no, let's talk about remove background. What time is it?
it's quarter of or 12.
And you need to be out by 7,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Okay, we did the reference images. Let's
If
do the remove background. So, and add background. So I
okay.
have this image right here. I did this one before, I believe, in a previous example.
Oh yeah.
Uh, let's see, right here. Now, if you were to try to create a face, a whole face out of this thing, just by, I don't know. In fact, I wouldn't even know how to do that, right? But watch, I'm gonna hit the C key. C key is for the crop tool, right? And then I'm gonna just scale this thing up because I got to give it some face at the bottom, and I'm gonna scale it up to give it some face at the top, right? So over
Mm-hmm.
here, right? I don't need to add anything to the prop because it knows what I want to do. Now, by the way, I need to probably span it over to this side as well because I need to kind of give some area on that side and maybe expand it on that side. Now, do you think it's going to be able to figure out how to create that whole face from that block of face?
Maybe.
Let's see. You ready?
Yep.
Make it generate and wait for it. Wait for it. And look at those pretty blue eyes. Ooh.
Oh my.
Okay, that's
Gave
it.
her a fake Christmas tree all
Right?
around.
But look at that.
But it has a nose. She has more of a nose and a mouth.
Isn't that
Where
cool?
did, where did the tree come from?
I just added that, you know. I don't know about that one. Uh, but the bottom line, it added, if you turn this off,
Yeah.
quite a bit, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if you look at this, isn't that crazy?
Yes. What happens if you tell her to remove the mask?
I don't know. Guess we can say. I don't know if they're going to be able to do anything with
Yeah,
that.
I think we're
Try.
pushing it.
Yeah, I think we're pushing the envelope there, as they say. So we can see the nose, right?
Yeah.
That is too funny. Wow.
Wow.
It didn't remove the mask, but it
No.
removed the background.
Yes.
That's that's crazy.
Can we ask her to change the color of her eyes?
You asking for too much now,
I
Karen.
know. I just
To what?
to green.
I probably need to select it to do that.
Well, it probably knows where the eyes are.
Yeah, I would think so. No, it didn't. It gave
Oh,
me some
it
green.
gave you green trees. So much fun.
So what I could do though, let's do that. I'm gonna just grab a little. I'm gonna do that, right? And I'm gonna hold on my shift key to add to the selection. You know about that. So I got two things. Now I'm gonna say green eyes. You say green eyes?
Yes.
Okay, so here we go. That ought to do it. There you go.
And they look realistic.
Yeah.
Remarkable. Thank you.
It-
You got
that is-
time to show us one more thing, I think. What else? What's it gonna be?
Okay, so let's see. Now I have a list here that I'm looking down at. So we can remove the background. So if you got an image, let me see if I can find a good image to work with. Let's remove this background, right? So let's see. I didn't want to cancel out of that. I guess I need to make a selection first.
And it doesn't have to be very exact.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't, because it knows that, this is the area. Okay, so you do that. And what is this? That's reverse the selection. But there's an option here. Let me see, generative. I have to look that one up, remove background. So I tell you what, let's call it a night. And let's do part 2 next. Oh, actually, your boy doing
Next
next
month,
month,
we're gonna
right?
have a guest speaker, Roman
Okay.
Villarreal.
Well, let me do, what is it? July, August?
Yes,
And I'm gonna do part 2 of this.
fantastic.
And I'm gonna review what some of the things, because it's only the two of us, and I can review some of the stuff that we covered tonight in more detail.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So let's
This
do
was
that, because it's
wonderful.
almost 7 o'clock. And I've had fun with just a little that I've done.
Time flies when you're having fun. Thank you very much.
Okay, and I'm gonna send you that version that I downloaded to my desktop as soon as we get offline.
Can't wait to see it. Thank you.
Okay, we'll
Have
talk
a
with
good
you. We'll
evening.
see you next month.
All righty. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye.